2020 with the coronavirus has been a terrible year, but 2020 has had some wonderful things happen, especially to electric cars, and I think that these things have actually been accelerated by the pandemic, and in this video we're going to look at why and what they are. At one point, most of the world was in a lockdown never seen in the history of the Earth. And the only flights that were taking place were basically cargo planes for shipping supplies all over the world. And the only traffic on the road were people who worked for essential businesses or people who were traveling for essential needs like shopping. But pretty much the entire world was completely and utterly shut down for traffic and cargo and planes. This gave us a taste of what life would be like with electric vehicles, and that's because it was quieter on the roads because you couldn't hear all the noisy engines on the roads, and also there was a lot less pollution. In fact, some cities, China for its biggest example, saw stars for the first time in over 5 to 10 years because of all the smog that wasn't there from all the pollution of the vehicles during lockdown. And this also happened in London and some other cities around the world. And it's the first time they've ever seen stars in these city centres because of all the reduced pollution they were getting during lockdown. And because people could see these changes with their own eyes, it's going to make some really interesting headway for some of the other points that are coming in a second. Now, with lockdown starting to ease all over the world, it was very clear that life as we knew it was going to change completely forever, including how we travel to work. More people are going to start working from home, and that was very apparent during this lockdown, that as people had to work from home from lockdown, as we've transitioned into a world with this virus and living with it, and even when vaccines are going to be there, people now are more used to working from home. Now, there is some benefits from working from home that people see, which is increased productivity and stuff like that before we get into the environmental reasons, but there is a huge environmental impact of people working from home, and that is people will need less cars. People won't need a car to drive to work. Some people will just work from home now purely forever, so they won't need a vehicle, and there's an environmental benefit there on not buying more cars. People doing less mileage is also an increased benefit there, and it also gets rid of a lot of the arguments people have against electric vehicles, which is they may have not sufficient range and stuff like that. And if people are doing less and less range because they're travelling less to work, this will be another unseen benefit. Now, with factories closed, including car manufacturing factories like Volkswagen, Audi, Renault, they all shut their factories. OEMs had a chance to rethink the way they do business. They knew that basically EVs and increased EV production is going to have to happen anyway, and they've had a bit of a close on the factories, a bit of a reset where they didn't make any petrol or diesel cars. And this is a perfect time for them to use that time to reset, to re-gear towards electric vehicles, which, let's be honest, they've been a bit poor at and a bit slow at in the past. But hopefully, the last point I'm going to get to will actually be a reason why they have to do it now. Another great thing happened in 2020, and that was the US had an election, and Trump was voted out and Biden was voted in. And the reason this was going to have a positive impact on the electric vehicles and the environment is Biden is pro-environmental and pro-electric cars. He's going to re-sign the Paris Agreement, and that is going to be one of the big changes. But US is still definitely behind the UK because of one major point. Now, you'd think with Rona going on that politicians would be far too busy dealing with the pandemic to deal with anything else. And well, you're half right. However, you often find when news outlets are busy reporting on a major story like Corona and vaccines, that they're a little bit distracted on other stories, and this is a perfect time normally for governments to sneak in laws, legislations and bits that they don't want the news media to report or pick up on too harshly, because it may not be popular with the overall consensus of the country, or there may be a lot of loud voices that may shout against it. And that is precisely what the UK government did. And that is, Boris Johnson brought the ban of diesel and petrol cars forward to 2030. In fact, it's less than 10 years away that we will have a complete ban on basically buying a full petrol and diesel car. Yes, there'll still be some hybrids around, but there is a video coming on why that does not matter coming up soon in the new year. But basically it doesn't really matter because the ban's been brought forward, it's been snuck in there, and I honestly think that it's been done because of all the points listed above. I think the public opinion would have changed quite a lot during lockdown. They know a lot's happening, and also there's going to be some massive financial benefit for the UK. We are now one of the strictest countries around in the world for the ICE ban. That basically means that more investment, more money will be spent here by companies wanting to do EVs, wanting to do EV chargers, and wanting to basically make electric vehicles. We are one of the most forward-thinking countries now in the world. I just want to say a massive Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everyone watching my channel. Thank you very much to my patrons. You have been an absolute wonder this year, supporting me, some of you for over 12 months. Special thanks to all of you. All your names are scrolling underneath. This year, patrons have helped me buy lights, and I also want to say a massive thank you to all the people that have used my Octopus referral link. The money that I bought from that link have helped me pay for bits and bobs like these 2 new lighting rings I've got here. I'm buying a new camera this year. You are all, honestly, the greatest people in the world. So thank you very, very much. Merry, Merry Christmas, and have a great new year. And I'll see you again in about 3 or 4 weeks. Goodbye. At one point during this lockdown, you are such a noisy eater. What are you laughing at?
That's why you can't record a video. She's like,
she's such a noisy. She's like,
I love it.